Hey everyone, today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to share with you a resource that you can use in helping to create your own personal training programs. Now what this video isn't is a prescription for every single person in every single scenario to create a program for themselves. What this is instead is for a healthy individual who doesn't have any serious physical ailments or injuries. This is a good general workout program tool. Now, at the top, I'll also say that if the program doesn't feel right for you, if you find that this is causing you any bad pain, I would definitely recommend that you back off. You find somebody to help you with your programming and to create something a little bit more customized to yourself. That being said, the majority of people that come into me, I'll start them off with something that looks like this. Now, what I'm also not going to be going over is exact mobility routines. Mobility routines are extremely important, but I don't have the time in this video to kind of go over specific mobility routines for specific ailments. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to defer to MAPS Prime Pro. It's a bundle created by these guys named Mind Pump. I love these guys. They do a phenomenal job with a lot of their programming, and this will help you to create a mobility and warm-up sequence that is individual to you. So I'd recommend that you check this out. I'll link it to, I'll have it linked in the comment section below. But without further ado, I'll explain the workout template. So what this looks like is it's 2 days, day 1, day 2, and you'll alternate between the days. Now, I've designed this in a way that will be beneficial for most people, and I'll explain some of the logic behind it. So most people, when they come into me after they've done their warm-up, I'm going to start them with some sort of hip extension. Now, if you just click the drop down here, I have a whole bunch of different hip extension exercises laid out. The higher up the exercise is, the more basic or the easier the exercise is. So if you're a novice, I'd recommend that you start near the top. If you're advanced and you know what you're doing, then you can start with something like a conventional deadlift or a high barbell back squat. But if you're just starting out, BW is body weight. I'd recommend that you start with like a body weight squat, a glute bridge off the floor, something to that effect, and then keep plugging away. And that will hold true for all of these different exercises. So another key consideration here is that I've started you off with something involving hip extension. Now, I know that most people, when they come into me, they've been sitting on their ass for the majority of the day. And if you're looking to counteract some of the movement patterns that we fall into, it's important that our programming and our workouts reflect that. So as soon as I have a client that comes into me and they've been sitting down all day, I'm going to want them to do something that is the opposite of sitting. So I want them to come, use their glutes, which are often super underactivated, and get some good hip extension in. This is a main movement, meaning that it's one of the most important movements that we're going to do on the day. So because of that, I'm going to have you do 4 sets, anywhere between 8 and 15 reps. Again, you can kind of play with this a little bit, but between this rep range, you'll be pretty good. So let's go hip extension. Let's say that I'm a novice athlete coming into the gym for the first time. Maybe I have a history of working out years and years back, but I still need to, a lot of security updates. I still need to work up to where I was before. So I'm gonna start off with something like a step back lunge. I'm gonna do 4 sets and 8 to 15 reps, either per side or on in aggregate total. It's whatever your body can handle. Don't kill yourself with these workouts. Go to a level that feels good. Please don't hurt yourself. Okay, so next up, I'm going to be doing something upper posterior. A lot of our day is spent with our hands out in front of us. We're driving around, we're typing on our computers, and because of that, we develop this forward shoulder and our head starts to jut out. So what I'm trying to do in the first 2 exercises, and I'm trying to select an exercise that's going to help my clients pull their shoulders back. It's going to help improve their posture. It's going to make them feel a lot better. And this is, super important. So now I've done something to counteract the sitting, and we're doing something to counteract being in the slouched position all day. So upper posterior, again, I'm a novice athlete, so I'm going to choose something up high here. We're going to go with a machine row, and I'm going to do 4 sets between 8 and 15 reps. Following that, I'm going to go on to upper anterior. So now that we've set our shoulders back, we can do something that involves pushing. If you have a history of shoulder problems, I definitely recommend you see somebody before you choose one of these. But if you're otherwise healthy and it feels good to do so, go ahead and choose an upper anterior to start. So, you know, I've been away from the gym for, let's say, some time, but I'm still pretty good at push-ups. So I'm going to choose something a little bit more advanced for the upper anterior. I'm only doing 3 sets here between 12 and 15 reps, a little bit higher here. I'm really focusing on improving my technique and making sure that I am practicing the movement of these exercises, not just pushing myself as hard as I can. Practice the movements. Following that, I'm going to go into another hip extension. Let's say, so I did the step back lunges up there. I'm going to choose something that involves both my legs. Let's say that I want a machine next. So I'm going to go with a leg press. Also, I didn't choose right here, but I would recommend if you choose something advanced for the first hip extension, I would recommend that you go with something a little bit higher on the list for your second choice. Not every single exercise is listed in order of complexity or progression, but that's generally how I've laid this out. So we're going step back lunges, machine row, push-ups, leg press. Following that, we're going to go with an upper posterior exercise. So the machine row, that's a horizontal row. I'm pulling kind of into my stomach and my hands are out in front of me to start. Because of that, I'm going to choose something that involves another lat exercise, but I'm pulling down this time. I'm working in a different plane of motion and I'm making sure that I'm targeting the different fibers of my back. So because of that, I'm going to go with assisted chin-ups. Again, 3 sets between 12 and 15 reps. Again, not killing yourself. After that, I'm going to go on to a core exercise and I'm going to choose Pallof press. Tremendous core exercise. And again, 3 sets and 12 to 15 reps. Okay, so I've designed my first day. Now I'm going to go on to my second day. I'm going to go a little bit faster through this. By the way, I absolutely love full body workouts. I think it's the best way for most people to train, especially if you're going to be training 2 to 3 days a week or even 3 to 4, making sure that you're hitting each of your muscle groups multiple times in a week. Yeah, I find that most people, and the literature will back this up, most people will benefit from full body workouts rather than starting off slamming yourself into a body part split. I digress. Okay, day 2. I'm going to choose a hip extension. Again, I'm pretty novice. I'm going to go goblet squat, upper posterior. I'm going to go with an assisted pull-up this time, so a little bit different than the chin-up. And keep in mind, now I'm pulling a vertical pull to start. So when I go to my upper posterior next, I'm going to choose something that works in the horizontal plane of motion. Now, upper anterior, I'm going to go with hammer strength chest press. Hammer strength is a type of machine. You can also choose a different upper anterior, but I've laid out in each of these drop downs a few good options. After that, hip extension. So I'm going to go back to a walking lunge this time. Goblet squat. I'm using both my bodies in symmetrical. So walking lunge next. It's an asymmetrical movement. And I'm going to be working more of the stabilizers of my hips. It's a good idea. After that, I'm going to go into an upper posterior. And I'm looking for something with a horizontal pull this time. And let's say I'm going to go with a machine row. Following that, excuse me, I'm going to finish off with some core. A plank would be a good idea here. 12 to 15 reps doesn't really make sense for a plank, so I'm going to just switch that to 30 to 60 seconds. And you'll have the ability to actually go in and alter these cells to best serve your workouts. So now I've laid out the actual workouts themselves. What I'm going to be doing here, let's say day 1 is today, February 27th, and I'm going to the gym. I have downloaded on my phone the Sheets app. As I complete my step back lunges, let's say I'm doing 4 sets, 8 to 15 reps, I did a total of 10 reps per side. So I'm going to write 10, then I'm going to be moving down. Machine row. I'm doing 4 sets between 8 and 15 reps. Now with a machine row, you're actually going to select a weight that you're using. So what I would recommend that you do is in this cell is you're going to write the amount of weight that you did. Let's say I did 85 pounds, and I did that between 8 and 15 reps. Now, you could write in the cell if you want the number of reps that you hit. So bracket 10 reps, or you could leave that out. It's really up to you. It's better if you keep track of it, but also simplicity is very important. But I'll go with 85 for 10 reps. Following that, I did push-ups. I got 15 push-ups, absolutely crushed it. Leg press, I'm gonna put the weight here because there's a weight associated with it. I did 2 plates per side. This is chin-up. I did 115 pounds for between 12 and 15 reps. 12 reps. Palloff press, I did 22.5 pounds on each side, and I did that for a total of 15 reps. Okay, so that's day 1, February 27th. Let's say that I went back to the gym 2 days. What I would do now is I'd go to my day 2 exercises. And let's see, it would be March 1st. I'm gonna start with the goblet squat. Now, goblet squat uses a weight. So I'm going to be putting the amount of weight that I use for my goblet squat. Let's say I used 20 pounds, and I did it for 12 reps. Perfect. I'm going to adjust this a little bit. Then we go on to assisted pull-up. Let's see how much I did for assisted chin-up. So I did 115. I would probably need a little bit more assistance on these, so I'm going to go with 125. Do that for 12 reps. Hammer strength chest press, say 25 a side. Walking lunges, I did 12 per leg. Machine row, I managed to, I just noticed that I wouldn't have the exact same exercise in both. I would probably actually switch this out for, let's say, a hammer strength row. And I did 35 pounds there. Plank, I got it for 45 seconds. Okay, fabulous. 2 days later, when I go back to the gym, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my day 1. This will be my day 3 entry, March 3rd, and then I'd input the different weights that I'm using. Hopefully we'd see some minor improvements. You don't need to improve on every single exercise every time you go into the gym, but now you've actually measured the amount of work that you've put in. You can reflect off of how well you're feeling. If you're feeling really good, maybe push a little bit harder. If you're feeling kind of crappy, you got low sleep, then you can take it easier on yourself. You can even back off or stick with the same weights that you're using. But hopefully over time, by day 7, we'd see more impressive numbers than we see here. Anyways, guys, I hope that you find this tool useful for programming for yourself. I'd recommend that you stick with this for somewhere around 8 to 12 weeks. So I might recycle this sheet and use it twice and then move on. But it's important that you keep the exercises the same for some period of time. What I've programmed here is 4 weeks. Not to say that you couldn't do these exercises for a little bit longer, but after 4 weeks, things might start to get a little bit stale, or 4 workouts for each, excuse me. And then you'd have the ability to go in and select some different exercises for the next phase of your training. Anyways, guys, I hope that you find this useful. If you do, be sure to leave me a thumbs up. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next vid.